What's up? What's going on? So it's 8:36 a.m. Thursday morning, May 27th, and I'm looking for a load. I just delivered a load. I think the last video I uploaded was me complaining about the broker lying about the shipper. She told me that they had a dock and they were designed to receive trucks, and it was a small business. It was an air conditioning sales and repair place in a shopping center. I had to street back into the parking lot and just leave the trailer blocking the whole damn parking lot. Um, there ended up being a lot of drama on this load with the broker lying on just about everything on this load. The really big thing that the broker lied about was the delivery time. Um, I don't want to get into too much detail because I've tried to make this video several times over the last couple of days, and I just start ranting and raving and cursing and just getting really worked up over the drama with the broker. So I'm going to try to avoid going too deep into the details on that. Needless to say, I will never, ever haul another load for DRB again. Um, They mainly are doing Linux, the Linux air conditioners. That's what I hauled on this load. She mainly does Linux stuff, Linux accounts. I dealt with Elaine on this load, and she lied on everything. And there was a bunch of really sketchy shit. I'm pretty sure she knew all of the stuff that I don't think any of these were surprise changes with the load because she asked me like 4 or 5 times when I booked the load if I had a Landstar trailer or my own trailer. What the hell does that matter if I'm doing live loads and live unloads? It doesn't. But she wanted to make sure that I had a Landstar trailer. I think because she knew that I was going to end up doing a drop and hook, and I told her initially when I booked the load, I said this is live unload and live load on both ends, right? Because I have a really nice brand new trailer and I don't want to lose it. And she's like, oh, yeah, 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 yeah. But anyway, there was a lot of drama. The main drama, though, was that she wanted me, for some reason, to contact her whenever I picked the load up. This is one of those loads where I drop the trailer off, leave it at the shipper for a couple of days, and then go over there and pick it up once it's loaded. And she wanted me to contact her whenever I picked up the loaded trailer and I signed the bills and the bills were in hand, and I left the property and let her know. And when I let her know that I had the bills in hand and the trailer was loaded and I was leaving, she told me that the delivery date changed from May 27th to June 1st. And she wanted me to sit on the load for another week without any extra pay. So we went round and round over that. I ended up calling Landstar customer care, and they didn't really care. They they didn't have any solution. They didn't really do much of anything other than they called Elaine, and they were like, or somebody at the brokerage, and they asked if I could go ahead and deliver on the original delivery date, and they're like, no. And they're like, well, um, are you going to get him in? They wanted to change me over to a drop and hook. They initially wanted me to just do a drop, but then they said they would find me an empty trailer, and but they said they would only give me the empty after I did the load. They wouldn't tell me what the empty was or where it was at until after I delivered the load. And then once Landstar got involved, they said that they would, give me a trailer number for an empty as soon as they had it. Um, so that's all I want to say about it. I will never ever do business with that agency again. That really really upset me with all that crap. I dealt with that drama for probably just on that one issue. There was a whole bunch of other drama with the load, but just the delivery date issue was like 3 days of drama. Um, of me emailing and calling back and forth during the day and stuff like that. And I couldn't look for another load until around noon yesterday. That's when this finally got semi-resolved, and I knew I was going to do a drop and hook, and there was supposedly an empty waiting for me. So, and we're going into a holiday weekend. Freight slows down at the beginning of a holiday, right before a holiday, and then on the other side of a holiday, it takes it a couple of days, sometimes a week, before it gets ramps back up to normal. So here I am looking for a load, and at the last minute going into a holiday weekend, and it's not looking good. So I called on about 3 or 4 loads yesterday, and they all either got covered by somebody else, they weren't available when I called, or there was one of them that I called that was supposed to pick up yesterday, and I was asking them if I could pick the load up today, if it was flexible. Like, can we change the pickup date? And these brokers, for somebody that's new to this and new to interacting with these type of people, it could be a little bit of a culture shock to go from company driver to owner operator straight in over here at Landstar, and you've never talked with the support personnel. Um, the brokers, it's like talking to 12-year-old kids. Is honestly, that's like probably the simplest way to put it. It's, imagine somebody that's in a customer care job and they don't really have much of any supervision. That's the way they act. Now, some of the brokers are incredibly nice, incredibly professional, but a lot of them, and it's mainly the ones that are listing um, the spot market loads. It's the indirect freight. Uh, a lot of those, it's like talking to a 12-year-old kid. Like, you call them up and you're like, hey, I can't make the delivery or the pickup appointment on this. I was just checking to see if the pickup appointment could be moved on this load. And they'll laugh at you and like hang up on you. I'm not joking. I am not joking. Not all of them do that, but you deal with a lot of them that are like that. Like, it's just there's not a lot of professionalism with most of these brokers, and it can be a little bit frustrating to interact with them. So I called on this Kentwood, Michigan to Portland, Oregon load yesterday and asked them if the delivery date could be pushed by a day. I was like, I can't make a pickup today, but I can make a pickup tomorrow. And they basically, the guy, which could barely speak English, laughed at me and said, yeah, let me check on that and I'll call you back in a few minutes, and hung up on me without taking down my phone number or anything. And I'm like, well, thanks. All right. Well, I'm not going to get a call back from him. And then, like 2 hours later, I got a text message from him, and he was like, when did you say you could pick that load up? Or he asked me when I could pick that load up. And I told him, like, when I talked with him the first time, I told him that I could be there between noon and 4 p.m. The next day. So I think what ended up happening was they couldn't find anybody to cover the load, and then he was like, well, if they're going to bump it by a day, let me see if this other guy can take it. And when I told him I could pick it up between noon and 4 today, the next day, he said, all right, I'll check on that. And he never replied to me again after that. And there was another one that they didn't know if the load was available. I talked to him at like 4 p.m. Central Time, and they weren't able to check to see if the load was available. And they said that they would call me back today, first thing in the morning, and let me know if the load was available. But that load's not on the load board anymore, so it's looks like it wasn't available, or it got covered after that, or somebody called in this morning and got it. I don't know. But they did not call me. Um, and what else? There was a load going to Southern California. It popped up on the load board. I looked at it and I was like, that's a pretty good load. And then I went and I did 5 fucking minutes of research, checking where it was picking up from, where it was delivering, looking at the load weight, verifying that the mileage was accurate. The miles listed on the load were the actual miles that I would be driving, because a lot of these loads, well, not a lot of them, but some of these loads, the listed mileage is way off, and so it skews the rate per mile. You'll see a load on here that's like $6 a mile. It's only going 500 miles, and then you check the actual distance between the two cities, and it's like 900 miles, not 500 miles, and that changes everything on the load. Um, so I did like 5 minutes of basic research on the load, and when I went to call, I hit the refresh page just to make sure that the load was still there before I called. Load was gone. It was like a $3.66 a mile load going from New Berlin, Wisconsin to Calexico, California, which is off Interstate 8, right on the border of Mexico, or Mexico border. And it was Kenworth parts. It was a Kenworth load. I don't know what you were hauling for Kenworth, but it was like 24,000 pounds of auto parts. And the load board is really, really slow today. So let's switch over to the load board. Um, there's not a lot of movement on the load board today. This is the Kentwood, Michigan load going to Portland, Oregon. I can't do that load anymore. They never contacted me back on that load and told me that I could take it today. And right now I'm in a position where I need to take a 10-hour break. I basically just started a 10-hour break. I'm not going to be available to drive until like 6 o'clock tonight. I can't drive again until like 6 p.m. So I can't pick it up today. If they want me to take this load to Portland, they're going to have to bump it another day. So then we have all these line haul runs that I don't want to do. They don't pay very well. And it's forced dispatch. You just sign up to be a line haul driver for a week, and you make approximately $2.10 per mile. And that's decent money, but that's not very good money. Maybe if you were in a really shitty market, that might be decent. But it pays like $2.70 a mile plus 30 cent per mile fuel surcharge. So you end up making somewhere around 212, 215 a mile, something like that. And you're doing those out and back um, line haul runs where you drive out like up to 250 miles away from the terminal, and then you turn around and come back. Supposedly, you don't have to hook the doubles on most of these. They're pre-hooked for you. You just have to hook up to them just like a regular 53-foot trailer, um, which is pretty nice. Like I did line haul. The first time I was in the trucking industry back in the early 2000s, I drove for a line haul company for a year, a little over a year. So I've hauled my fair share of doubles, lots of them. And yeah, hooking up doubles is a pain in the ass. So having them pre-hooked, that's pretty nice. But I'm still not going to mess with one of those line haul runs. If the rates go down, then those line haul runs, if they keep paying what they're paying right now, and the rates go down, then they might be decent runs to haul. But as it stands right now, you can run at a much higher rate per mile than those things and make a lot more in a week. You're not getting more than like a maximum of maybe 2,500 miles a week, and that's really only if you're getting like the really good runs. You could be getting as few as 1,600 miles a week. So, and you're going to be working 5 days a week doing it. Like I could do 1,600 miles in like 2 or 3 days, um, and make pretty damn good money. But on those line haul runs, you'd be working 5 days a week doing that. What do we got here? Cedar Rapids to American Falls, Idaho. I've already looked at this load. And I'm not really. I mean, it's paying $4 a mile, but the problem is I have to deadhead almost 200 miles in the direction of this load, so it's shaving. It's basically going back to where I was just at, but it's 200 less miles. They're paying me 200 less miles. So I just got paid $6,000 to do this exact same run from Salt Lake City to Chicago. And now this load goes from Chicago back to Salt Lake City, but it's 200 less miles. So it's like $800 less dollars. I don't really want to mess with that. I don't want to drive back over there for that money. Franklin Park, Illinois to Oklahoma City. 24,000 pounds of auto parts that picks up tomorrow and delivers on Monday. So I could go back to Oklahoma City if I wanted. 2,800 bucks. I actually just got an email from a broker. Let me pause this. Yeah, the email I got was a load going from Janesville, Wisconsin to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and there's an extra stop in Tulsa. It's paying like $2,200, and it's 22,000 pounds. So I'd have to deadhead up to Janesville, and it's paying some hot garbage. It's like 788 miles. It's paying like $3 a mile. Look at all these like $4 a mile loads up here. $3.50 to $4 a mile. $4.64, $4.82 a mile. So I go to Little Rock, Arkansas. This right here is a very similar load to what I was just offered. Doesn't have any extra stops on it, and it's going to Little Rock, Arkansas instead of Oklahoma City, or instead of Tulsa. The distance from Tulsa to Oklahoma City is about 100 miles, and the distance from Little Rock to Oklahoma City is quite a bit further. It's like, I want to say it's around 300 miles, maybe 350 miles. But this one's paying almost $5 a mile. So instead of $2,200, this one's paying $3,400. Doesn't have an extra stop on it. And I can just deadhead, 350 miles to Oklahoma City, make an extra $1,200. Well, I only get 65% of that, so. But it's a $1,200 difference in these two loads. But that's the kind of loads that I get offers on. I have I had to contact Landstar corporate like 4 or 5 times to get my phone number removed from the website so that the brokers can't call me anymore. They can't find my phone number. And I'm okay with them sending me emails so they can see my email address, but now they finally can't see my phone number. So I've started receiving emails from brokers offering me loads. I don't want to get phone calls from them. I'm about to go to bed right now, and they work during the day, and they'll call me all day long offering me like the worst loads on the load board. They're not calling and offering me these hidden gems that are not on the load board that nobody else has seen. They're just like, these unicorn loads, like, oh my God, I'm going to give that truck right there, that random truck that's in this area, this amazing load, and I'm not going to give it to anybody else. No, that's like, this isn't some fairy tale bullshit over here. These brokers that are calling and doing these cold call sales, they're trying to move the trash that cannot be moved on the load board, the loads that nobody else wants. Every single load that I've been offered from a broker on a cold call has been an absolute garbage load that doesn't even show up in my search results. So, like, there are things that don't show up in my search results. Wentzville, Missouri to Frederick, Oklahoma. There's a whole bunch of loads going to Oklahoma. Evansville, Indiana to Wichita, Kansas. I really like to haul loads that pay, longer loads. I don't like to haul this short shit that's like 500, 600. Really, anything under 1,000 miles, I don't like to touch. And even 1,000 miles, I don't really want to mess with those too terribly much. Really, what I'm mainly looking for is like 1,200 miles minimum, paying $350 a mile minimum. Those are the kind of loads I'm looking for. I don't want to do a whole bunch of loads throughout the week. I want to do like 1 or 2 loads a week. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but this is one of the things that the broker really screwed me over on is we're coming into a holiday weekend and freight is slowing down right now. Like usually at this time of day, 9 a.m., I could hit, show me new results every minute and there's 2 or 3 new loads, especially in an area like Chicago, which is the area I'm searching like a 200-mile radius around Chicago. 250, or is it 300? No, yeah, it's 300. I'm searching a 300-mile radius around Chicago. It is absolutely ridiculous how slow it is right now. But this is what it's like around holidays. And this is the reason I think a lot of drivers probably take holidays off. They just go home. And I'm considering grabbing one of these loads going to Oklahoma City or somewhere in Oklahoma. And just going home because freight is usually slow right before a holiday and it's slow right after a holiday. So freight may suck for the next week. That's the reason I was really hoping I would have gotten this Portland, Oregon load, because I would be able to drive and do that load all through this weekend and make a lot of money on it. And that would basically cover me through all this slow bullshit. But now I'm sitting here and there's like almost no movement on the load board. Let me look at the total number of loads. Gotta pause this while I look at that. Alright, 71,000 loads. So it was at like 63,000 loads an hour ago. So there's been like 8,000 new loads on the load board within the last hour. And I changed my destinations. I added in the south area, the southeast U.S. Um, I do not really want to go over to like North Carolina or South Carolina or Virginia or West Virginia or any of those places, but I added them in here just to see if there's like some really awesome load going over to Florida or somewhere. $3.50 a mile to go down to West Palm Beach. That's way down in South Florida. That's just terrible. Livonia, Michigan to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Picks up today, delivers tomorrow. There are a ton of loads in this area going into Oklahoma. Like, not a ton, but like at USA Truck, it was so rare to ever see a load going into Oklahoma. I would usually have to take loads to Texas or Kansas and then just deadhead from there to Oklahoma. To see loads going to Oklahoma, or especially Oklahoma City, that's like weird for me after working off USA Truck's load board for so long. Alright, there's just way too damn many results on this shit. Let's do new since last search. Lincolnshire, Illinois to Port Orange, Florida. Not really feeling that. That's this load right here. One of the things that I actually prefer on the phone app over the website is that I can sort by age, by how old the load is on the phone. And I can just look at all the new loads as they're being posted. There's no way you can do that on the website. So what I think I'm actually about to do, because I'm feeling really tired, is I think I'm going to throw on some Netflix, crawl my ass up into bed, and just look at loads on the phone. Like check the phone every 15 minutes or so until I fall asleep. I don't have to book a load today. I don't have to book a load tomorrow. But if I don't book a load today or tomorrow, then I'm going to be setting until Tuesday. Or I'm going to just deadhead to my house. So, I don't know, man. This isn't looking good. I don't really want to sit at the truck stop throughout this holiday weekend. And if I am going to sit at a truck stop throughout a holiday weekend, I don't really know if I want to do it here. My internet's actually pretty good here, so that's good. But I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. Right now, I'm just like really tired, and I would prefer to go to bed. But I really want to be looking at the load board during this like peak load board time right now. And there's tons and like tons, like most all of these loads right here that I'm looking at, every single one of these loads, there's 197 loads right here. These are all good loads. Every single one of these loads are good loads. I just don't want to do any of them. Like they're not. I'm looking for like that perfect load for me. I'm really picky about the loads that I take. New since last search. Indianola, Iowa to Tappahannock, Virginia. Appleton, Wisconsin to Mount Crawford, Virginia. Milford, Indiana to Forest, Mississippi. None of these are really that great. But now that I've added in that southeast region into my searches for destinations, now I'm actually seeing new loads pop up every minute or two. Union City, Elwood, Illinois to Union City. That's Atlanta. A really light load going to Atlanta. That's basically where I'm at right now. We'll look at the details on this. Look at the map. And I am right about here on the map. I am just south of the 5580 junction by a couple of miles. So Elwood, Illinois is really, really, really close to where I'm at. Atlanta is a pretty damn good market. So it's a 1 p.m. appointment. I could make that. It only pays $2,600, but it's only, 678 miles. Delivers on the 29th. What is that, Saturday? Yeah, it delivers on Saturday. I really, really, really do not want to go over into the east or the southeast unless it's just like, the only reason I added it to my search results was just in case there's like some really amazing load. And like $2,600 is right at my threshold. I'm only showing loads that are $2,500 or more. About the lowest I'll go on a load is $1,800. What do I get on $1,800? This second here. 1,800 times 0.65, $1,170 is how much I make on an $1,800 load, roughly. And that's about as low as I'll go. So if I'm in a shitty market, then I'll drop it down to like $3 a mile and $1,800. But Chicago is a really good market, so I've got it set at $350 a mile and $2,500. Let's see, we got 3 new loads. Centerville, Iowa to Zanesville, Ohio picks up tomorrow between 5 and 9 p.m. I don't want to go east. And again, this is a load that's like right at my minimums. I don't like hauling this short shit. This is one of the reasons I try to stay away from the east, is because, yeah, the rate per mile is pretty good over there, but it's a bunch of short fucking loads. I don't want to deal with that short bullshit. I don't like doing pickups and deliveries. And doing these short loads, you're doing, a lot of pickups and deliveries. I don't get paid to get loaded or unloaded. I get paid to drive down the road. So I'd rather have a load that's $350 a mile going 2,000 miles than a load that's paying $450 a mile going 600 miles. Fort Smith, Arkansas is about 200 miles from my house. All right, New Holston. I'm just doing new since last search, and it's showing me what loads have been posted since my last time I searched. So, New Holston, Wisconsin to Benton, Virginia. Don't want to go to Virginia. Madison, Wisconsin. Somebody reposted the Madison, Wisconsin to Fort Smith, Arkansas load again. All right, so I'm just going to crawl in bed and do this on my phone, and who knows if I'll get a load today. The load board is just slow as shit. Let me switch this over to the camera, and I'll look at the. Somebody just posted that Madison, Wisconsin to Fort Smith, Arkansas load again. Let's look at the load count. 72,278 loads. That's decent. Like that's pretty solid, but it's been on like it's been the load counts have been really high for basically the entire time that I've been with Landstar the last couple of months. So 72,000 is nothing. They've been hitting 80,000. The highest I've ever seen it was almost 90,000 loads. So 72,000 is like kind of middle of the road. But it's only 9:14 a.m. Central. But I'm going to end this video, and I'm going to go lay in bed and watch some... what TV series am I watching on Netflix right now? I'm rewatching Punisher. I've watched it before. I don't really remember it. So watching it again, there are some things that I remember about it, but it's almost like watching it for the first time because it's been so long since I watched it. But anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye.